Today I got my very first student. His name is Jerry, and he practices Jiu-jitsu. Now, the Jiu-jitsu he practices is a pure sport, meaning they don't throw strikes or kicks or anything like that. It's just pure grappling or wrestling techniques. And he was interested in learning how to throw strikes, but he had never thrown a punch before. He's never boxed. He's never participated in any combat sports. He's basically taken a martial art, and it's taught, the traditional way. They just teach the jiu-jitsu. They're not teaching MMA or boxing or anything. So we have to start at zero with him, and that for him that requires everything from basic footwork. So what I'm showing him right now is how to move around the bag, and that includes stepping forward, stepping back, stepping side to side, not crossing the legs. And the first thing we taught was just the basic jab, and I showed him the step jab, and I showed him the regular, just little snap jab.
Same forward, back, forward, back. So I'm almost like pivoting. That's the hard one, back. Most people, the natural tendency when you want to back up, step back foot, but that puts you off balance. So you have to almost learn to
Now that I showed him how to do a basic jab and how to move around the bag using the proper lead foot, I showed him the very, very first boxing lesson that I ever received, which was in Marine Corps boot camp. They used to call the drill 1-1-2 back. And what they would do is they would put you in a line, and everybody would move forward using their lead foot. They would step forward the lead, and almost like fencing, bring up the rear, and the drill was 1-1-2 back. So you throw one jab, power punch, and then you said back, which is hands back to the head. So it would be jab, jab, punch back, jab, jab, punch back. And we just threw those for hours and hours and hours. It was very rudimentary. But that drill just taught you to always put your hands up and how to use your entire body to throw the power punch, which is your waist and turning your foot into it.
It's almost like baseball.
Yeah.
Rotating, swing.
let's do it without the bag. So bam, bam, bam.
So the anatomy of a jab, you can see he's punching from the shoulder, turning his waist into it, and he turns his hand all the way through, makes light contact with the bag, brings his hand back up to his cheeks. On the power punch, he rotates his arm all the way through, and he steps off the back foot, turns his foot through, and punches using the waist again. Now, what I didn't teach him, and what he just knew naturally to do, was he kept his head down, his shoulders up, and he always held his hands up. I didn't have to show him that. As you can see, look at me, like I'm demonstrating it, and I keep dropping my hands. So that's just bad habits picked up from being out of practice and not having anybody swinging at me to remind me to keep my hands up. But he's a natural. Like, this is the very first time he's ever thrown a punch. According to him. According to him. I don't know. I don't know if I buy it. He looks like he's got pretty good form for somebody that's never thrown a punch before.
Man, you put your head down naturally. That is fucking beautiful. A little more crisp on the power punch.
Chris was in his quick.
And now we're tying everything that we learned in together. We're going to do some jab punch combos, and I want him to do it while pivoting around the bag back and then forward. So I have him start in the forward direction, and he does that for about 5 minutes, and then I have him do it in the reverse, and he does that for about 5 minutes. And you'll see that he doesn't move very well because he doesn't have the mind-muscle connection, so he has to think about stepping while he's throwing his punches. But as training goes on, as we do it more and more, it becomes more and more fluid and more natural, and he gets to do it faster. And I told him that even though it feels really clumsy and awkward now, if he just keeps practicing it, it'll come second nature in a matter of days.
Go around in a circle. Step, slide, step, slide. Just lightly hit it. Same thing. We're just going for power will come. Right now, think of it like dancing. We're dancing right now. That's perfect. You're going slow. You're getting the movement
Backwards?
Yep. So you're gonna move the front foot first with the jab. Then there you go. I know, right?
I still
Using proper foot movement, moving the lead foot when you want to step, to your right, or your back foot when you want to step to your left, it's counterintuitive. And the idea of never crossing your feet when you're trying to traverse, it's a hard thing for the brain to put together. And you can see how slow he has to go to not mess the movement up. But it's just one of those things that you just got to keep practicing. And if you keep doing it enough, you'll get it, and you won't have to think about it.
Slide. Step. And with wrist all the way through. Perfect. Because you are going to eventually wind up being a long fighter, it's still good to learn and stand close.
Now, there you go. That's my very first lesson, my very first student. And I'll tell you what, he's making me better because I have to think of all these things in order to articulate it to him. So it's going to be interesting to see how we will be able to help each other out. I asked him to show me some of his grappling stuff, so hopefully that's a skill that I don't have much experience with. The Marine Corps, they taught us a lot of moves used to incapacitate or hold people, like arm locks, that sort of thing. Stuff that you would use to pin somebody down in order to incarcerate them, or that kind of thing. But I didn't learn a lot of jiu-jitsu type stuff or wrestling techniques, so this will be interesting to see how it goes.